Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey dude, you too must be from Marin." Marin County's A-OK, from Tam to Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. The Dennis, Dylan, and NWA.
Welcome to the Run TMC podcast. That is the Run the Marin County podcast, a podcast about basketball with an emphasis on the Marin County, which is where Dave and I live. It's where we grew up. It is perhaps the greatest place on earth. So I'm Duffy Ballard, and with me, as always, coach, friend, and basketball nerd, Dave Levine. How's it going, Dave?
Duffy, good morning. I'm honored to be called a basketball nerd. The iced coffee is here. I have it. It's back. All is right with the world. We're still looking for an iced coffee sponsor. It just makes too much sense, but I don't know. It hasn't happened yet, Duff.
It's been suggested that we start our own iced coffee brand and product, and then maybe we could sponsor the podcast. Just an idea.
How about Run TM Coffee?
Runt Mick iced coffee.
Runt McCoffee. McDonald's, call us.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a problem, Dave. My problem is that we've done these recordings in the morning the last couple times, and I just can't make the switch to iced coffee from hot coffee in the morning. Iced coffee more of a midday, maybe late morning, definitely like early afternoon pick me up. So I am still on hot coffee this morning.
You know, one thing that Duffy and I have talked about is more engagement with our listeners. So maybe having them provide us with comments or suggestions or feedback. And so we're interested in our listeners. Do you prefer iced coffee or hot coffee? Let us know. Send us an email. Leave us a comment on our social media. Send us some coffee.
Yeah.
But this is a hot or iced topic, whichever you want.
Spicy coffee?
Not my thing.
No, agreed. Yeah, hit us up at the Run TMC podcast at gmail.com or the Run TMC podcast.com or on our Insta. Right, Dave?
Absolutely. At Run TMC podcast. So we have another great and rather lengthy interview today. So, there are a few things we wanted to cover before we get to the interview. Duff, where do you want to start?
I think we want to acknowledge a legend of the game who passed away just yesterday. Dave?
Yeah, very sad to see that Coach Bob Knight passed away at 83. Robert Montgomery Knight, the general, 902 career wins, won 3 national titles at Indiana University as coach. He coached the 1984 U.S. Olympic team to a gold medal. One of the greatest takes ever, Duff, was at that time, Knight said this was 1984, and actually I think he said this in like 83 leading up to the 84 games, that Michael Jordan, who at the time was I think a college, sophomore, junior, whatever, just about to go pro, was the greatest player he had ever seen. And little did we know that would be the most realistic and true take ever. So he was a big fan of Jordan.
But Steph Curry was like not even alive at that point, right? So, how would he know? Yeah.
True.
No, that was a great take. And you posted this already this morning, Dave. You just told me, you and I, I'm sorry, Dave. We were both looking up the same clip. There's a great clip of Coach Knight talking about that 1984 Olympic team and a game against Spain where they are up by 29 points and they're going into halftime, and he's trying to think of something to say to them to keep them motivated. And Jordan's had this amazing first half with like 19 points, a bunch of rebounds and assists. And Knight just tells us, you'll have to look at the clip, but he just walks in, looks at Jordan. He's like, what could I say to Jordan that, how could I get on Jordan that the other guys in the room would be like, oh, if he's getting on Jordan, then I have to work harder. And he just chooses, you got to set more screens. Come on, Mike. I have 4 guys out there setting screens, and the only way I can get 5 is if I take you out of the game. And all I see you doing out there is scoring and rebounding and passing the ball. Set some screens, Mike. It's just great. A great question.
It's a great story, and it actually he talked about it because Knight's view was the first 3 or 4 minutes of the second half were the most critical time stretch of a game for momentum, and that's been ingrained in me since I was a kid. Jonas Honick, my high school coach, always told us the first couple minutes of the third quarter are so critical for momentum and kind of setting the tone. And so that it's a great story, right? Because Knight's like, how do I motivate these guys? We're already up 29. We basically played a perfect half. How do I make sure that these guys aren't complacent? And so he picks on Jordan. It's a great anecdote. Yeah, I posted it to our Run TMC Instagram. So check it out. But I've heard many stories about Knight. Dave Deneen, in our interview, we talked about Mike Delosio, a Drake grad who walked on at Indiana and was one of the few players in history to walk on and get a scholarship and play for Coach Knight. Steve Lavin, who we've talked about a lot, he started his coaching career as an observer at Bobby Knight's program for a couple months and spent, was at practice every day before Steve actually got a job at Purdue working for Gene Katie, Indiana's rival, which, by the way, Bobby Knight was not happy about, which is sort of a funny story. But I've heard Delosio and Lavin both tell amazing Bobby Knight stories, just good and bad. I mean, absolutely crazy stuff and incredible basketball knowledge and leadership. But the bottom line with Knight is his players, absolutely, the players who could survive and who could deal with the demands that he put on them, absolutely loved him. And Isaiah Thomas, Quinn Buckner, these legends just would die for Bobby Knight. So it's a very sad day.
It is. I think no matter how you feel about his coaching style, and I had some mixed feelings about it, watching Indiana as a kid. My family's from Indiana. My dad, was a high school player in Indiana. And so was always rooting for Indiana, but his style on the sideline, it didn't resonate with me watching it. And I'm sure that's true for many others. But obviously he was effective. And as you say, those that bought in were loyal to him all the way through. There's also, Dave, not to get too much into the nuanced view of Knight, but there's a great chapter in the book Mindset, which compares John Wooden and Bobby Knight with a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. And Carol Dweck, sort of pins Knight with a more of a fixed mindset, this sort of like, well, you have this role as a player, you're point guard, you pass the ball, you don't shoot the ball, and that's what you do. Whereas Wooden was much more fluid, apparently, sort of with his communication. Anyway, it's worth a read. And I'm getting off topic here, but it really, that's one of the fascinating aspects of looking at legends like Knight and how they could be successful with one approach, and someone else could try that approach and have a really dismal result.
Yeah, he's a complicated guy. I don't think you're off topic at all, Duff. I mean, and so Season on the Brink by John Feinstein, a really interesting read. He was embedded with the Indiana program. Knight had a ton of controversy. If you Google him, you'll see when he left Indiana, it was for a specific reason. And so he was a complicated guy. But, just in terms of fundamental kind of old school basketball, pressure defense, ball movement, player movement, discipline, just, he changed the game forever. And so 902 wins, what a career. So
that's 902 more than I have at the college level, Dave. How about you?
How about we say this, Duff? You and Knight have combined for 902 college wins.
That's fair.
So, Duff, we are now officially in season for high school hoops. You and I both had our first weeks of practice. Started October 30th. So how did your first week go of high school practice?
Yeah, it's still ongoing, Dave. But yeah, so far I'd say a little rugged. I mean, it's a tough week. It's tryout week, and some cuts are going to be made over the next couple of days. And much like CYO, there's some bubble kids, and everyone kind of knows who the bubble kids are. So people, the kids are a bit on edge. It makes it a little hard to have fluid practices. We've had some injuries and illness, and so some of our top players are not participating. They're at practice, but not playing, and so that kind of impacts the chemistry and flow as well. So anyway, I think we'll be happy to move past this week and have our team defined going into next week. Speaking for Coach Bauer here, I'm pretty sure that's the way he feels, and I'm sure there are many other programs out there going through the same process. But it's good. It's it is part of the process, and you can't skip past this part of it. I will say that Coach Fulton came to talk to our team before practice yesterday in the team room at Archie, and he was just talking about his Drake teams and specifically his first game as a sophomore that he got in, got some playing time, and he had high sphincter tone and wasn't sure what to do, so he just decided he was gonna play his ass off, hustle, get some steals, and everything else would just kind of come into form, and that's what happened. So I think our boys really enjoyed that. As you and I know, Mike is just so great with people, and particularly with young people. So that's probably been a highlight of our week, Dave, and look forward to starting to prep for games coming up soon. How about you?
Awesome. Yeah, it was a great week. Really fun. Well, yeah, you're right. It feels like it's been a full week. It's midweek right now, but it's been really fun getting back at it, and our girls are working hard. And basketball shape is a different kind of shape, right? You can do preseason conditioning, you can play a fall sport, but getting on the court and getting in your defensive stance and sprinting back in transition, it's tiring. And so our girls were tired the first couple days, but working hard, and it's so fun to get back at it. So speaking of high school basketball, Duff, we have a correspondent. We have another correspondent, number 2, and he gave us a team preview for one of the MCAL teams. So why don't you talk us through that?
Yeah, this is great. I think we'll touch on every team. That's our aspiration. Maybe not before we start the season, but at some point we'll be, from a correspondent or from our own research, we'll be talking about the boys and girls teams, at least in the MCAL, and give you at least a season preview or a season update to see how they're going along. This is from Johnny Kearns. He was mentioned on the last podcast. He's a great player in his era at Marin Catholic, and that was also my era, so a long time ago. And then we played both against and to each other and together at the Marin YMCA, and then in San Rafael League for years. He was on a team, the yellow team. I think they were called Seconds Best, but they were always in yellow. Anyway, great player, retired from the game now, but still doing some coaching, and most importantly, he's listening to the podcast. So
he is. We had some controversy about which song Santa Fe High came out to, but we've resolved that. We'll get to that in a minute.
We've moved past that. Yeah, so he sent a very detailed email about the Terra Linda team. He's coached a bunch of the kids that will be playing on the Terra Linda team. Last year, they were very senior heavy. They had some very good skill players. I believe that they made it to a play-in game for the MCAL playoffs and lost MC. But they had a pretty good season last year, but have lost a lot of the players who played big minutes for them. And this year, says John Kearns, I'm just going to read a little bit here. In summary, this team will be very deep, scrappy, and small. This roster actually fits Coach Baker's style much more than last year's, as he can create chaos on D, lots and lots of trapping all over the court. Offensively, he's definitely a 5-out coach, so having 4 to 5 guards on the floor at any given time will fit perfectly, as they will be able to penetrate, kick out, and run the 5-out as it is intended to be run. So he predicts that they should battle for the 4th spot, as everyone assumes, as do we, that Branson and Redwood will be the cream of the crop for the boys as well. So he mentions a few players. Varsity senior guard Grady Bowers should have a big season. Sean Madden. Up front, forwards Cole Simon, Trevor Revi. They're both kind of on the small side, but good rebounders. So he also mentioned some of the juniors that he's coached, and we'll have to see how these guys sort out what their lineups look like. And it'll be interesting to see a team. It sounds a lot like our Archie Williams team, young, but with a lot of speed, a little undersized, scrappy, and we'll have to sort of fight for every loose ball, every rebound, every possession. So thank you, Johnny, for that. Look forward to seeing the Terra Linda team in action.
Yeah, thanks, Johnny. Awesome stuff. I saw TL play last year. Coach Baker, I love his style. Fiery, gets him playing hard. The thing that's going to be great, I think, about the MCAL this year, I don't think there are going to be any easy games. Everybody plays hard. So really good coaches, boys and girls. So it's going to be great. Duff, why don't we skip the glossary because we're running a little long. So let's go to our sponsors and then we can get to the interview.
But Dave, guess what my glossary term was going to be? You were going to do ice, and I was going to be really clever, and I was going to be like, "How about iced coffee?" But we covered that already, so I guess we're good.
We're good. We'll bring it back next episode. The little foreshadowing, ice coverage is going to be a good one. So on our sponsors, I'm gonna talk about once again our friend Karen Horstmeyer. She is a fantastic real estate agent in Marin County. She brings the same expertise, strategy, and commitment to every real estate transaction as your trusted real estate advisor. She'll create a winning game plan for purchasing and or selling your home. So give Karen a call today at 415-794-4311. She also, in addition to being a fantastic real estate agent, is a Marin County legend, Division I coach, player, phenomenal person. I can't speak highly enough about Karen. And she's going to be a guest on this podcast. But thank you for your sponsorship, Karen. Duff, who else?
We look forward to talking to you next week. So our other sponsors are spreading out their ads, and so that's great. It gives us opportunity to solicit other sponsors who can fill in. So we would just want to acknowledge that we'll be coming back and telling you more about the NBBA, the Hub, and the Nike San Domenico camps run by the Skaggers, Jeff Skaggs, new nickname we just learned in this interview, Skaggers.
Yes.
So thank you for your support, other sponsors, and we'll be hearing more from you in the future.
Awesome. So let's get to the interview, Duff. This was a really fun one. I absolutely love this conversation. We had Mike Saia and Ashley Saia on. Mike is the head boys varsity coach at MC. Ashley is the head varsity girls coach at MC. And Mike is Ashley's dad. So it was a family affair. Just awesome people, awesome coaches. It was a super fun discussion. We were perched up in the Nelson room atop the Marin Catholic gym. And Duff, mid-interview, you mentioned we could hear the baskets being lowered and the balls bouncing for open gym.
Yeah.
So we go through their backgrounds in the interview, so I won't rehash that here. But just these are two thoughtful, inspiring people. And I think this discussion unearths some really great stuff about coaching, about resilience and bouncing back from injuries and adversity, about being a leader. Just a great conversation. And what do you got, Duff?
Yeah, no, it was fun to see two people. I'd never met Ashley before and only briefly met Mike before. But, they're the type of warm, polite, thoughtful people that you're immediately drawn to. And you could see the similarities in personality style between the two of them. And you kind of felt like after our interview, I was like, oh, these are kind of friends of mine now. And so that was cool. And that's a really nice aspect, actually, of just doing this podcast is, I've had that feeling now a few times with our guests that, I didn't know all that well beforehand. And afterwards, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know this person, at least the basketball side of this person I know pretty well. So that's another great thing about the sport, Dave. It just connects people around the world.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah,
we'll
talk more about that in the future. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get to this interview. It's fantastic. We get a little season preview for both the boys and the girls for MC. So this is season preview week or weeks, I would say, Dave. So we're going to get a little touch of that as we move into our kicking this off, which is very exciting.
All right. Here's the interview. We'll talk after. Thanks, you guys, for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
It's
looking
awesome.
forward to it.
Here we are. We're above the Marin Catholic gym. So, Duff, we are joined by Marin basketball royalty. Here we have Mike and Ashley Saia. So, Mike is the boys varsity basketball coach at Marin Catholic High School. Ashley is the girls varsity basketball coach at Marin Catholic High School. Mike is Ashley's dad. So, you guys know each other reasonably well.
Yes.
Both are phenomenal coaches, and you guys both were outstanding high school and college players yourselves. We're going to talk about your playing careers and kind of the transition into coaching. But I also wanted to say, I didn't mention this to you guys before, but you both also are striking a great balance between kind of work life and hoops. You both have day jobs that aren't at Marin Catholic. Ashley, you're in finance, right? Wealth management. Mike, you've worked for a produce distribution business for 30 years. So you guys have your day jobs, you have your families, and then you also are phenomenal basketball coaches. Duffy and I have day jobs that are outside the education system as well. So it's good to know that we can have day jobs outside of the school and still have time for coaching and strike that balance. But we're all very busy and very tired, obviously. We're very lucky to have you guys in Marin, and Duff and I are very fortunate to have you on our podcast, so thank you. So I'm going to struggle to try and be brief here, Duff. That's always a problem for me, but I'm going to go quickly through the backgrounds here. Mike, my dad always said age before beauty, so I'm going to do you first, okay?
Fair.
So I asked for your backgrounds, and I love that you gave me St. Rita's CYO. It wasn't just kind of grew up in Marin, it was St. Rita's CYO, which is props to that. I was St. Sylvester's back in the day. So St. Rita's CYO, Drake, 1979, team captain, played for Pete Hayward, right?
Yes.
We'll talk about that. College of Marin, team captain, and then walked on at Cal Poly in 1982, same school as our prior guest Dave Deneen. And then you earned a scholarship, Mike, and Duff, you guessed it, he was the team captain at Cal Poly, and so I want to come back to this, but team captain your whole career, which I love, and I think that's something that we haven't talked about on this podcast, the importance of that role. So after you graduated college, Mike, you started reffing, and you were a very successful high-level referee. You reffed several Marin County Athletic League finals, but then you went on to ref in college, the West Coast Conference, the Big West, the WAC. You reffed some NCAA tournament games, March Madness, the Great Alaska Shootout, the Maui Classic, some luminary preseason tournaments. So great career as a ref, and then came back home, and in 2010 you started coaching Marin Catholic, and you've been here ever since, right?
Yes.
So not controversial to say, one of the greatest players at Drake ever. Some people have told me he's like top 3. And Jeff Skaggs, Mike, said that when you guys played together in the adult league, that Mike never missed a mid-range jumper, and he never took one he shouldn't take. That's pretty high praise, Duff. So just did everything right. Before we get to Ashley, Mike, I do want to do one side note. Your brother Jimmy, phenomenal coach, Marin legend as well, was on the 82 Drake team. Jimmy's currently at Cal State LA. He's coached at USC, at UCLA, at Cal, Fresno State. He's had an incredible coaching career. Jimmy was a huge figure in my life because when I was a kid at Pirate Camp, he was my coach, and he scared the crap out of me, and he inspired me more than anybody. And he taught me how to play hard, how to play with intensity and energy. So I still think of Jimmy Saia's red face, down in his stance. It wakes me up in the middle of the night. So I love Jimmy, so it's an honor to talk to you.
That hasn't changed, and if you probably Googled him on YouTube, there are some, they just focus on him on the sideline with a camera, and yeah, that hasn't changed at all.
I mean, the guy was unbelievable. And I used to think, like, we're not even on his team. We're just kids at a camp. Relax. But, man, I loved him. Okay, Ashley, St. Anthony's CYO also gave me the specifics. I still like you, but St. Anthony's, man, they own me.
I understand.
You understand. You get it. Your coach, Ashley, was your dad for CYO. We're going to talk about that. Ashley played at Marin Catholic, 2-year team captain, played for Rick DiMartini, right? Legendary coach here. Ashley then went to Bentley University in Boston, Division II, where she was a recruited walk-on. Injured your sophomore year, right?
Sophomore and junior year.
Sophomore and junior year.
2 ACLs, yeah.
2 ACLs. So we're going to come back to this and talk about recovering from an injury, dealing with adversity, resilience, and all these important traits that make us human beings. And Ashley had to deal with that, and she rose above it, came back, was a 3-year captain. They had a great team at Bentley. They made it far into the postseason. She then went into coaching herself. She was an operations intern at Cal under Lindsay Gottlieb, great coach, who's currently at USC, right? She coached with the Cavs in the NBA. And then you were at Gannon University in Pennsylvania as an assistant coach, and Miami of Ohio for a couple years before joining Marin Catholic in 2017.
Yes.
Awesome. So there's a reason we wanted to have you guys on the podcast, right? There's a lot of people we can choose. You guys are great coaches, and you're great people. And I just say that as someone who, kind of an independent third party, I've coached CYO for years. My daughter's a freshman, and her team, I was always a proponent of us going and watching local teams play, and I would always take us to watch your games.
Well, we appreciate the support.
No, they love you. And so to that end, Grayson Levette is sort of like Michael Jordan to my girls.
Of course.
She's a rock star. She's
Michael Jordan to our girls too.
I get it. Her dad actually emailed us He's a listener of the podcast, so
Love
that's
it.
awesome. Thank you,
Hi,
Dan.
Dan.
Yeah, exactly. So Mike, I mean, the same thing with watching your boys play. Like they play hard, they play together, they're fundamentally sound. You're always in games, even against some bigger teams, some teams that might be bigger, stronger. I love watching you guys coach, so that's why we wanted to have you on, because this is a basketball nerd podcast. So, speaking of Marin Catholic, why don't we start? I'm going to stop talking and let you talk. Let's talk about Marin Catholic. So, Ashley, why don't you go first? Talk about the season coming up. Give us a sense for your team, how you're viewing the league and everything. Go ahead.
Yes, so we have 4 returning starters. So we've got a really good core group of girls coming back. Like you mentioned, Grayson has graduated. She's playing at Lehigh now and having a great preseason. And so that's a big loss for us. Probably even more so on the defensive end than the offensive end.
Yeah.
But obviously she's an all-around player for us. So we've got 4 returning starters and then a bunch of girls that have been committed to fill in those gaps. And I think what makes, me excited for this year is everyone's really improved over the off season, and they've been committed to getting better and expanding their game. And so we're excited to compete and looking forward to another hopefully good run in the postseason.
And it's going to be a good league, right?
Yeah, it'll be competitive. Yes.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. And obviously, only playing 8 league games will be a little different, but it's allowed us to kind of schedule some different competition. So we're taking what they gave us and we're getting out of the county a little bit and playing some different teams.
Yeah, so let's address that now. We've mentioned this in a few other episodes, but the MCAL big schedule change this year, right? So now we're not playing the home and home anymore. Teams are just playing each league team once.
Yes.
So for a team like yours, you guys, the last couple of years, you've been really good, ranked at the state level. Probably a interesting, probably a positive thing for you guys, right? Because now you have more preseason tournaments against competition outside of Marin, where you can really get some strength of schedule
Yes.
benefits, right?
Yeah, and that's a given there, and we have scheduled a really hard schedule.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our girls like playing MCAL games, and
Sure.
they like playing against the kids that they play with in AAU and getting the fan base and having the schools come out and the students come out and
Yeah.
all of that. So that will be a loss, and so I don't know what the answer is, but like I said, we're taking advantage of the 8-game league this year and doing that, and then whatever the next step is, we want what's best for MCAL. So
Yep, that makes sense. Cool.
Dave,
Yeah.
can I ask? I wasn't going to talk at all, but I have a question. Because
Yes.
It always happens. So at the end of your season, you lost a heartbreaker, right, in your final. Was
Yes.
it NorCal?
semis.
Semis. Okay.
Yes.
And how much did that motivate your returning players coming out of that? Because it could go either way, right? But,
Yeah.
you-
It was heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. It's definitely motivated them. We've gotten a little bit further each year, and so the goal is getting to state. And we missed out on an opportunity last year, but that's sports for you, and definitely a big motivator in the off season.
Way to break it down, Duff. What division did you play in the NorCals?
1,
So that's
and
another
we were
thing.
the 1 seed.
So for our listeners to understand, I mean, MC is 900 students,
800.
800 something students, right? So if the divisions were slotted just by enrollment, you guys would probably be like a D3, D4, right? You were so good, you got brought up to the Division 1 bracket, you made the semis.
Or was it D2?
You lost?
I think you were D2.
D2. Still,
I
either
think
way.
I think it was.
Yeah, I think it might have been D2.
Yeah,
Still,
sorry.
Yeah.
how dare you? You got brought up. We need fact checkers, Mike. We were talking about this. You got brought up to play against really tough competition. You guys had an unbelievable year, and those, we've all been there. Those losses are tough, but I see your girls working. I coach MBBA. I'm in the gym with Alyssa and Jocelyn.
Yeah.
They work hard. They are ready to go.
Yes,
So
they're
it's gonna
excited,
it's gonna be a fun year. I'm excited to see. All right, Mike. Let's talk about the boys' side.
Okay. Yes, we played an extra month of basketball last year. We made it into
Yes.
March, and as a general rule, when you always play into March, it's a good season. We our overall record wasn't 500, but we ended up falling up and winning the games we needed to win.
Yeah.
And so going into this year, no secret, when Charles Williams is done with football, he's going to come to basketball. Popped his head in the office yesterday, which was great to see. And I think what's different this year is the returners we have coming back all have experience. We've got some juniors, some post-juniors who will contribute. We've got a couple of seniors that had some minutes last year for us. We got a couple of transfers from Branson who will contribute once they become eligible December 20th. So there is a good core. And I think the thing that is most exciting, if we're going to talk about Marin Catholic in general, is we got such enthusiasm and a skill set from the sophomores and the freshmen.
Love it.
We're getting 20, 25 kids in our open gyms, and most of those are freshmen and sophomores, and they just want to get in and play. And so it's really re-energized the coaching staff too. And but it all kind of begins with how we finished last year. We made it to the same game. It wasn't a good night at Marin Catholic.
It wasn't a good night in the Saia household.
Yeah, that was a rough evening. But our game wasn't
as heartbreaking.
Wasn't as heartbreaking. But anyway, both those teams we played went to the state. And
who did you guys lose to?
We lost Half Moon Bay.
Did they beat San Domenico?
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they had a big guy. I remember and I remember that night, San Domenico, our girls, we were playing that same night, and someone had come from your game, and it was right after your game, Ashley, and I was sad to hear that you guys had both lost. But great season. You did an unbelievable job coaching both of you, those teams.
Thank you.
And Mike, your team, 500. Did you guys make the MCAL playoffs?
We had a playing game. We had to beat Terra Linda.
I remember that.
Every game we needed to win to extend our season, we won. And
it was a fun team to watch. Just grind it out.
That's it.
Don't have to win pretty. You just got to win. Awesome. So, Mike, what are your thoughts on the schedule change, and how does that impact you guys?
I look at on the boys' side, and really, you got Branson, and then you got Redwood, and then probably the other 7 of us.
Yeah.
That I think all have a shot to be in either the top 4 or the top 6, however many they're going to allow in the playoffs this year. And so it's a 1-year trial, and I think we're all okay with a 1-year trial, and we'll discuss it when the season ends. But I think it's better for the county, and if we're going to be a league, then let's be a league.
Yeah.
And I get what Branson wants to do, and what Redwood wants to do, and what Marin Catholic girls want to do.
Sure.
I get it, but if we're going to be called the MCAL, then we should be playing league games.
Right.
We were lucky enough where we filled out our lower level schedules, but I know that some programs have 17 games out of 26, but our JVs are going to San Lorenzo, they're going to Oakland, they're going up to Napa. Our freshmen are going to Concord. We always go to De La Salle, but we're making a couple trips up to the North Bay, up to Santa Rosa. And, so those games should be here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but again, I've been around a long time, and so I'm a little more of a traditionalist. So, like for instance, I'm okay that Redwood hosts the championship games, even though we may play Redwood.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
It's the biggest gym. I heard we had 2,500 kids in there, or 2,500 fans. Got end zone stands. It's
the best.
It's the best. And so,
I gotcha. Yep. It'll be interesting. I didn't know it is a 1-year trial, so that's good to hear. So we'll see how it goes.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks, you guys. Good luck to you this year. If you play San Domenico in the postseason, I hope you lose. But otherwise,
we scrimmage him November 11th.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Awesome.
Looking forward to that.
Tyler does a great job.
Yes,
awesome.
he does an excellent job.
All right, let's go to the early days, Mike and Ashley. So, Mike, Jimmy is your brother. Jimmy, 2 years younger. 3. Okay. What were those one-on-one games like?
I was just bigger than him. When I'm 11 and he's 8, or I'm 8 and he's 5. We used to way back in the. I had a neighbor and he was a year behind me. We would pitch Jimmy the football because he got a 49er helmet for Christmas, and he was probably about 6. and we said you're Ken Willard and I'd be
Yeah.
Bob Lilly and my buddy would be Dick Buckus, and we just crush him.
Of course.
That's what you do to the little brother.
That's why Jimmy was so mean to me, because he was beating him up when he was a kid.
But no, I think Jimmy's fire and
Yeah.
Jimmy's drive to always, not that he was ever doubted, but I think he always just knew he had to work extra hard and be extra focused.
Yeah.
And he burned hot. He burns hot. I mean, he's kind of the mellowest guy you'd ever want to meet. But you put him in the lines and you light up a scoreboard.
Oh,
or at a camp. I've seen him at those camps, and that's the most important game of the in the universe.
Well, the incredible thing for me was going, because we talked about this with Jeff Skaggs, which is an episode that'll come out later this season, but the Drake Adult Summer League, legendary Adult Summer League, which was the best thing in the Bay Area, right? As a kid going to Pirate Camp, and Jimmy's my coach, and then I go at night and I watch him play. And I was just blown. I mean, I remember watching you play, Jeff, Kevin Johnson,
Yeah.
right? We've
The
talked
names.
ad nauseum about the incredible NBA players playing at Drake on a summer night. But seeing Jimmy play and the intensity and how hard he played defense and just all the stuff he was preaching to us in the line drills and in defensive slide drills, and I see him do it on the court against NBA players, and I can't tell you what an impression that had on me as a kid.
Yeah.
So,
And he was sure of himself. He was very sure of himself in a very quiet manner. It was kind of a fascinating read, but yeah. I will just say the one-on-one games in our backyard had to do with me and my sister, because we're a year apart.
Okay.
And she was about the same height, and she's another one that burns hot.
Okay.
And there were usually tears, and not always her.
So you were an amazing player yourself, right? So when you were growing up, did you play pickup? Because this is I don't know if you guys have been able to listen to some of our other episodes.
To a couple, yeah.
I was just talking about like when we were kids. I mean, Duffy's brother literally wrote a book going around the country playing pickup, and it was like a Rick Steves guide of here's where you play pickup in Philadelphia. Like that's what they did when they were in their early 20s. It's called Hoops Nation. Check it out. We played pickup, right? And it just feels like today the kids they're just as skilled. They're even maybe more skilled. But the going and playing pickup, no coaches in the gym, no coaches on the court, it doesn't happen as much. Was that?
Yeah, but I would say it was all three sports.
Okay.
When I was growing up in Fairfax, and we had the Marinda Oaks had a great neighborhood. Oak Manor had a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
The Cascades, where Skaggers grew up.
Yeah.
And so it was really all three sports, and it was all of that. It was no parents. You just made your own games. If there were 6 of you, then right field was dead.
Right.
And that's 10-year-olds or 11-year-olds figuring out how to manage an afternoon of competition, and but it was really baseball, basketball, football.
Yeah.
Growing up prior to 8th grade, but basketball was definitely part of it. High school was when it was the Drake open court or outdoor courts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get to high school in a second. So Ash, growing up,
Yes.
your dad's an amazing basketball player. He's a coach. He's a ref. When you're 2 years old, are you dribbling a basketball, or like what was your process?
I mean, basketball was just always part of our lives. Played 2nd grade Park and Rec in Novato, was going to Drake camp in 3rd grade.
Yep.
And then St. Anthony's started up in 4th grade, and he's had coached me the whole time. So, I'm assuming I had a basketball in my hands when I was little, and yeah, the passion was quick, was early.
Yes. And did you always love it, or was it your dad saying, "All right, you're doing this"?
I would say I always loved it.
Yeah.
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 I mean, even. I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point, but like through college, my mom would check in with me.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this. Like just making sure that I'm not doing it because of my dad. And
Yeah.
I don't like to do things I don't want to do. So it's like, trust me, if I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
So, it obviously was helpful to have someone that was passionate about it also, that just fed the passion. But no, it was my decision to play.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you go to Marin Catholic, you play for Rick DiMartini.
Yes.
He had won state titles before, right?
I was in 8th grade when they won it.
When they won it with Brooke Smith. So I coached Brooke Smith in 8th grade.
Nice.
And Nikki Moore. It was all me, as I said to Mike. So what was playing for Rick like? What was Marin Catholic like? You were 02 to 06,
Yes.
is that right? Okay. So
So it was great. I mean, obviously coming off of they were coming off a state championship.
yeah.
Those 5 seniors had graduated, but there was still a bunch of college level basketball players, in the gym, and open gyms were competitive, and
Yeah.
the plan was to get back there again. So the intensity was there, but it was always fun. Rick always made it fun. We do summer camps over at Cal and St. Mary's, and so he definitely made sure that was part of it. But very detail oriented, defense, rebounding heavy, and it was a great experience, and that's why I'm back here trying to give that experience to the girls that are playing now.
So you were point guard,
Yes.
right? I'm not saying it's just because of your stature, but you're a leader, clearly. Did you play varsity your freshman year?
I did.
Okay, so all 4 years varsity.
Yes.
Did you get playing time freshman and sophomore year?
Freshman year off the bench.
Six man.
And then sophomore year I tore my ACL, so I was out the whole year.
Oh,
Yeah.
bad ACL luck.
Yeah, really bad.
She's had 4.
Oh my
surgeries.
goodness.
Yeah.
All right, but you kept playing.
Yes.
So how about AAU? Was AAU a thing back then?
It was, I was really into swimming growing up.
Yeah.
And so I was doing that during the summers until 8th grade is when my first year playing for Fulton was the first year of AAU for me. And we would only go to the end of the Oregon Trail up in Oregon right after 4th of July. So that was the only viewing tournament that I even knew about, let alone, that's where we went, and that was it, and that was the end of our season. We would play through the spring, and then end of the Oregon Trail, and then that was that. So,
Gotcha.
But no, I mean, the AAU thing, I was never burnt out because I didn't play year-round since 2nd grade.
Right.
I did other things, but basketball was always my number one, but I was doing other things, and then, every tournament felt fresh, and it was only, a couple of years of AAU.
Yeah. So how do you feel about AAU now for your players?
I think, there's definitely value there. The exposure's there. Anytime you're in the gym, that's positive.
Yeah.
But, the burnout and the maybe too much sometimes.
Yeah.
And just a game's a game when a game should be a competitive game to win every time, But there's a lot of positives and these girls are in the gym, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, for a player like Grayson, right, who, all everything, MCal, just a phenomenal player. Like for her, the AAU thing was probably good exposure for her, right?
Excellent exposure, yes.
Because it's a concentrated way for college coaches to see a lot of players in a short period of time. And during the regular season, the college coaches, by the way, they're coaching their college teams, right? So It's really hard. I'm going to talk to you about your recruiting when you were a college coach, but so AAU is for the higher level players it's something if you want to get exposure to college, it's probably a good thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mike, high school, Drake, legendary, the mecca of basketball. So in the late 70s, were you guys the best team in the league?
No, I played varsity 3 years, made it to the championship game all 3 years, and came in second place all 3 years.
To who?
So to Novato, and Redwood.
Okay.
In order, yes. And we actually, our junior year, which was probably the best team I was on, there were 4 teams, and the first place team got a point. And we ended up beating Novato on a Friday night at College of Marin. And then we had to turn around and play them again on Saturday, and they beat us.
Wow.
But that year we were 25-6 overall.
Okay.
And Novato was probably like 28-4.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so it started with Eddie Joe, or the early 70s when you're 5th and 6th grade. I think that's when it's just formed in your brain.
Absolutely.
When I grow up, I want to be here, and I want to be that guy.
Totally.
Along with everybody else. And then we had buddies that were my age, had older brothers on the team. So it was a community school, and so you really felt a part of the community.
Yeah.
So that's so it just kind of filtered in, and then it was Walt when I was a freshman. It was Walt Gillespie.
Gillespie.
Yeah. And then you just hope that you were could be one of those guys to pass it along to my brother who was 3 years younger, and they would pass it along to Michael Hayward and Mitchell Pierce and whoever just came along, and so it perpetuated for a lot of years, and for a public school it was really special.
Well, the other special thing about Drake for all of us is the Pirate Camp, right, which we've talked about, now Falcon Camp, but that was just, it brought all of the Marin kids together, and everybody went to that camp, right? And so your coaches were like Jimmy Saia and Steve Lavin, and
Brett Tavani, Paul Farabuff.
Totally.
It's when you had teachers who were the coaches who were also teachers who had the summers off.
Exactly.
So they would come and work, and make a few extra bucks. They would come work. Pirate Camp.
Exactly.
And so you really got exposure to. If you were in high school, you were coaching the little kids, and then when the high school camp came, you were being coached by real high school coaches.
Real coaches. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and it was so affordable. Coach did a great job. Coach Hayward did a great job of just keeping it so affordable. Yeah. And never said no to anybody. I think their numbers were like sometimes 180, 200.
Yeah.
It was just fascinating.
Yeah.
And he got it all done.
It's so great. Still going today. Reed Nottingham's running it today.
Yes.
Still doing great. Thank you, Reed. All right, let's talk about Pete Hayward. Playing for Pete. Pete was old school, right? I mean, a great coach. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Got to be one of the winningest coaches in Cal history, if not the winningest, right?
I would think so. I mean, my brother, they finished their half of his junior year and his whole senior year 56-0 or 56 in a row. So they're. Whatever. I'm going to guess the answer is yes.
Yeah, I mentioned this in another episode, but Chris Fulton texted me after he listened to the episode with his brother Mike and said that Drake was 92-3 in 3 years that Chris played.
Yeah.
So that's decent success.
Yes.
So what was it like playing for Pete?
It was, definitely old school, and I think one of the best things he did was he recognized who could lead. Who could lead the team,
right?
With him and the way he coached. And I think I always had a tremendous amount of respect for him. And I think he had respect for a lot of the guys who could be the liaison between the coaches and the rest of the team.
Sure.
To move it all forward. Offensive, the word genius gets thrown around, but his offensive concepts, the flex offense, the shooting form.
Right.
He would come in the summer. I mean, everyone said, "Oh, you guys from Drake, you guys were all great shooters." Well, it's because we were taught, that it's all about the elbow, and keeping the elbow straight. If the elbow's straight, the ball's going to go straight.
Right.
You shoot off your two fingers, and it's you got a pretty good success of being a pretty good shooter, and that was all coach. Yeah. And he did. He was really innovative. It would have been fun to play in his offense when we had the 3-point line.
We talked about this with Fulton. The 82 team averaged in the 80s or 70s, high 70s, low 80s with no 3-point line.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that you think about that. I mean, even today in a high school game, you get in the 70s or 80s. That's a serious. Yeah. There's no defense being played. Yeah. Like they were consistently putting up those numbers. Yeah. That's incredible when you think about it.
But back to coach, he was. I take a lot of what I was exposed to from him about how to build a program, how to maintain a program, how to work year round to keep the standards in that program.
Right.
He did all that. And a lot of it, it was, other than the intricacies, a lot of it was there was a chance he was going to be down there and he would open the gym.
Right.
And we could play indoors. Right. Which was always a treat. And you always knew that he'd come rolling up on his motorcycle and open the gym on a Saturday or Sunday, and what better place to be.
Yeah. Did you guys, and did you play in the outdoor courts sometimes? If Coach didn't open the gym, you were out there? Yeah.
And you had to get there early.
Right.
Because you had to kind of get the run at noon, or maybe if you were in the top 15 or 15 there, because if you lost by 12:15 or 12:20, you may not get on that main court again until maybe 1:15.
That's serious motivation.
And that's where you learn to compete. And Absolutely. That's where you learned. I'm not going to say that's not where you learn to cheat, but you learn to scratch and claw and call maybe that phantom foul to get the ball back, because you need to get the hoop so you can stay on and play.
Yeah.
And that's really, I think, where a lot of us got that grit.
Yeah.
Of just scrapping.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. So how far did you guys go in your high school teams? I know you said you made it to the MCAL finals. Did you guys go far in NCS?
Well, okay, so this is to show you how old I am. NCS, 8 teams in every division.
Wow.
In all the divisions, they took 8
teams
schools
total.
Yeah. So that year when we had
Yeah.
that incredible record, we beat 6 league champions. Beat Reardon, we beat Montgomery, we beat McClymonds. I can't remember. Maybe it was Vintage.
Yeah.
Can't remember everybody we beat. So they took 7 league champions and 1 at large. Berkeley was another one, and we were the only at large.
Oh wow.
So what is it now? 16 times 6 divisions.
Yeah,
It's 96 teams.
Yeah. There
In
were 8.
1978, they took 8.
Wow.
And we were the one at large team.
And how'd you guys do?
We went up against Berkeley. We beat Berkeley in the regular season.
Yep.
And they beat us in the first round.
Okay.
But it was a heck of an accomplishment, and we were 5'9", 5'10", 6'1", 6'2", and we had a starting center 6'4", who was the first sub out.
Oh wow.
And we subbed him in with a guy 6'1".
But you guys could shoot, move
We
the
could
ball,
shoot, yeah.
play with anybody.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, I want to shift gears a bit and talk about you guys playing in college, because you both were successful college players. So what was so Ash, how about you? So you go to Bentley, great school.
Yep.
I know people who went there in Boston. Coming from Marin County, flying 3,000 miles to a small Division II school in Boston. How did you make that decision? What was that like for you?
So we, my dad got a list from a friend of schools in Boston. We have a lot of family friends that went to school in the area, and I was, wanting to kind of do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So we went out there, and everything from Boston College to, D3 schools in Maine, we took a look at. And so it was just us two, and we skipped a couple tours because we didn't like the gym, which my mom was not impressed with.
Hey, that's a good reason.
But
First place you got to go.
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Forget the dorms.
he wasn't on any other college trips after that.
Way to go, Dad.
But Bentley was on that list.
Yeah.
And wanted to do business. Beautiful school, and little did we really know, the coach Barbara Stevens there is 1,000 wins in the Hall of Fame.
Oh wow.
Is top notch, and the fact that I got to play for her kind of randomly was, the biggest gift.
So how did you stack up? So when you arrive your freshman year, you're good, you're starting, you feel great, or were you like, oh my God, these people are really good?
I felt in the mix.
Okay.
I definitely felt in the mix. My style of play is making people around me better.
Right.
So, I didn't score a lot, but I had people around me that could score. So
Yeah.
I feel like I could add things that kids that came in that were, 20-point scorers, this, that, but didn't know how to do the other things.
Right.
So I felt like I could insert myself into situations that was a little bit different. But, I played a little bit my freshman year.
Mhm.
It was the most I played of my whole career.
It's probably your most healthiest.
Yeah. It was, so that was, I was off the, third or fourth off the bench maybe.
That's great. And you guys had a good team.
Yeah, we went to the Sweet 16
Awesome for Division II.
for Division II.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so first, before we get to that, did you get looks from any other schools? Like, were any other schools reaching out to you, trying to recruit you?
Not really.
The Division III school in
Wheaton.
Wheaton, yeah.
In Massachusetts,
Yeah.
Taunton, Mass. Went on a visit there. She came out here for a game. It was just heartbreaking to tell her no, because she was great. And then I'd coach Bentley camps with her, and so we'd still see each other.
Yeah.
And but that was pretty much it. Some Willamette up in Oregon, but nothing really serious. I applied to a bunch of big D1 schools and didn't really make a decision until April of my senior year.
By the way, that's one of the parts of recruiting that's not talked about a lot. Is schools will recruit kids, and maybe you got 2 or 3 that you're considering. You finally choose one. That's great. But when you tell that coach that, say no to them,
Yeah.
it's part of the job, right? But they've maybe spent a year, 2 years getting to know you, bringing you out, and we're dealing with that now with.
Yeah. Well, what I've told the girls that have been in that situation so far, from being on the college
Yeah.
coaching side is a no is as good as a yes. An answer's good.
Exactly.
And
String
so that
along.
I try to just like ease their,
Yeah.
they need an answer. So if you're giving them a no, well, now they know and they can move on.
Move on.
So as soon as you know that you're not going there, that needs to be communicated because they do spend a ton of time and effort on recruiting you, and if you've already decided, they need to know as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I got you. Okay. So for your college experience, let's talk about how you dealt with injury. Now it sounds like you already dealt with it in high school. So
Yeah.
I mean, you're mentally strong. You've got great energy. You're a very positive person. So when you're dealing with, you love this game, you love playing it, you get hurt. How do you deal with that? How do you stay sane and positive, and how do you come back?
Yeah, I mean, I think the toughest thing was going into my sophomore year. The starting point guard spot was open. The point guard had graduated.
Yeah.
I was in the best shape I've ever been in my life. Worked my butt off over the summer.
Yeah.
And then, in first week of practice, made it all through preseason, of course. Did all the track workouts, all of that.
All the crappy stuff.
All the crappy stuff. Yeah. It was devastating. And, I'd done it before, so I'd gone through it. This was the other knee now. And all of them were non-contact. So, just bad luck.
You're cutting or you're...
Yeah, planting. And, I really love this game. So, I went to Bentley to play basketball. I love my teammates. I love my coaches. So, Coach Stevens was amazing. I sat at the front of the bench for my whole sophomore year and junior year. I did the scorebook. I did timeouts, fouls. I was in on the coaches' huddles at timeouts.
Probably helped inform your coaching.
It 100% did. So I really felt like I left Bentley with 2 educations. I learned from the best. So really kind of tried to focus on that, knowing that, I would be coaching probably in some capacity down the line. But I had great teammates. I mean, you can speak to it. You guys went through it as parents. It was hard.
Yeah, very, very hard.
Yeah.
But you're still in the right spot. So
that's a great message too, right? We talked about this with KK, do you have advice for kids as they're evaluating different schools?
Yeah.
And I mean, she basically said in so many words, if you get hurt, are you going to still be happy?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it sounds like for you, coach was supportive, players were supportive, you're involved, you're on a good team, you're learning, and look at you now, super successful coach, love basketball, but that's also a big part of that is you didn't mope, feel sorry for yourself, and say hell with it. You made the best of it, right?
Yeah. Well, and all the coaches made me still feel valued.
Right.
And I could still have a say, but also in the same respect, they're like, we're doing warm-up drills for the first hour. You don't need to stand out here. Go do your rehab. So it's not like, 3 hours of practice, but you need to get here an hour and a half before that to do rehab. It helped, I guess, that I was out for the whole year. So it wasn't like I was going to come and play later where I needed to be at everything. So they were, supportive of, me getting through this and mentally and all of that. But I felt valued there. So
Duffy had a good question. Duffy's a doctor, by the way. Sure. Whoops. Siri's talking to me. That's fun. Not now, Siri.
Get validated.
Exactly. That was a fact check. Sure, Duffy's a doctor.
What's your heart rate right now?
Yeah, exactly. Women seem to be at higher risk for ACL injury.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you learned from that experience that you have passed on to your players now, or
I think, strength training, obviously, which I was doing. Strength training, and then, I talked about it a little bit before, but just, rest and not overuse, and then also just sometimes it just happens, and it just sucks, and in the same breath, it's like, you just got to play every time, everything, because you just don't know, what's going to happen. So that it kind of puts that into perspective. But the rest aspect, listening to your body, we try to gauge, we've been doing too much, or it's a big week of school, do we get them out early? Do we need to cancel practice? All that stuff matters
Right.
There's not a science to it that I know of. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
But, strength training and making sure you're listening to your body.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing that, and I'm very impressed with you making the best of that situation. So that's awesome. So all right, Mike, I want to talk about so Cal Poly for you. We had Dave Deneen on, and Dave was at Cal Poly when they made the transition from D2 to D1. I don't know if you heard, his Cal Poly team was 1-26.
Yes.
They were 301st out of 301 teams in the country. He had some great stories about it. But so Cal Poly, when you were there, what was that program?
The year before I got there, they went to the Division II Final Four. The football team won the national championship.
Oh, wow.
The men's team came in. That's when they had a third place game. And they won the third place game on a 54-footer at the buzzer to win the third place game. So they were coming, and I was coming off of tearing my ligament, the ankle ligament at College of Marin.
Okay.
And I didn't want to go back for my third year at College of Marin. So I I said I wanted to study agriculture. It was either going to be Davis or Cal Poly. I recognized that I was a Division II athlete at best. And I wanted to go somewhere where I think I could play, get my degree, and move on. And I chose Cal Poly and just showed up the first day, or found out when the first open gyms were. And that's that. And I kind of went in cold. My JC coach called on my behalf, but I'm sure our head coach got a number of phone calls from guys like that. So we finished. We were number one in the nation early. I think we went out to like a 10-0 start. So because we were ranked because of the year before, and we got number one, and then we finished number 8 in the nation my sophomore that year, that walk-on year, and we were made it to the finals of the Western Regionals.
Awesome.
In NC2A,
and then you started as a walk-on. You got a scholarship.
Yes, yeah. I think that the story I would tell, and out of all of it, was to make the team. After when they first started having tryouts, they listed 33 guys, and I was on the team. They listed on the door, coach's door. I was on the team 26 to 30. The best 5 guys, then the second best, then the third best, and so I was playing with guys who and I've shared this with my kids. I'm not sure it resonates, but what would impress a coach? So we have 3 days of tryouts. The first day we lose 6-0, 7-0, 7-1, and everybody who gets the inbounds pass takes a shot. Even back in the early '80s, that part hasn't changed. So I'm thinking the next day, how am I going to get the coach's attention? So the best player on the team that was a returner was 6'5", 220-pound Kevin Lucas from the New York area, coming back to be a senior. He penetrated the lane. I jumped in front of him, and he just trucked me. He just buried me. And everybody stopped. The coaches are sitting on the sideline at half court, and everybody stops, and no one knows how to ref it.
Right.
And I said, I don't care. Let's call it a block. Take the ball out of bounds.
Right.
And then I did it again later that day. And I think that then after the third day, they made the cut to 15. They cut 18 guys. And I made it.
Awesome.
Now I had 3 weeks to just show them that I could play basketball. And I firmly believe that if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have a college career to talk about.
And that's the equivalent of, Tom Poser telling CYO kids, be the kid that dives on the floor in the evaluation, right?
Absolutely.
That's the equivalent.
That's it. Yeah.
Or the kid that talks, or the kid that slaps fives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. It's funny. My daughter is playing freshman at Redwood, and her first fall league game, she came over to take a charge and she broke her wrist. And her coach KK said, so the good news is she took a charge. The bad news is none of the kids are going to take a charge now because she broke her wrist. Yeah, exactly. So kids, if you're listening, take the charge. Coaches love it.
Yes.
Mike, I want to talk to you about being a team captain, because you obviously charismatic, great guy, very positive energy. You're a team captain in high school. You're a team captain at College of Marin. You're a team captain at Cal Poly. Ashley, you're a team captain. We haven't brought that title up a lot in this podcast, and I want you to talk about, how do you view the role of a team captain?
Well, I think, I mean, I know what Jeff Skaggs says, and that was very nice. I am not even trying to be humble. I was pretty good at everything. I wasn't really, I never visioned myself, being a great basketball player. Maybe other people do, but I never thought of that. So what, because you're not always going to make all your shots, you're always not going to have good games, but can you always be the team leader? Can you always lead the guys? And I said, well, that can be a constant.
Right.
And that's what I felt like I was really good at.
Yeah.
And so, I think, when you have these different teams, you kind of see who's going to take the reins. And I felt confident I could take the reins. I felt like I could lead everybody and set the right example and be the conduit between the coach and because we all got to coexist and have a good experience. And so I wasn't that I wasn't confident in my ability, but I knew the constant would be being a leader, being a team captain. And so I never sought it out, but I think hopefully by my actions, either the team voted team captain or the coach appointed a team captain.
Yeah.
And so, I wasn't a resume builder or anything. I think it's just something that I knew that I could always offer, whether I was playing or not playing. The being a leader was always something that it kind of came naturally, and I was more confident, I think, in that sometimes than in my game.
Yeah.
So that's probably why I was a team captain.
It's an important thing. Coaches care a lot about who the captains are, right? I mean, it's a big deal.
It is a big deal. Yeah.
Okay, I'd be remiss, Mike, if I didn't ask you a little bit about reffing. We talked to Daryl Rory about this. He had nice things to say about you guys. He said you both got on him once last year, but it's fine. He forgives you.
I apologized.
He said that you apologized.
I was like,
I did.
Been losing sleep over it. It's like that was my bad.
All right, so Mike, reffing college games. I mean, any war stories? Any notable coaches who got on you? Like,
yeah, the coach that was most difficult to ref was Billy Tubbs when he was at TCU. I didn't have him in Oklahoma, but I had him at TCU. He just wanted everything. He wanted everything.
So how do you handle that? Do you just say, "Coach, enough," or do you engage with him?
Well, I was pretty fortunate because I was, I think, 30, 33, 91. I was 30 when I got into Division I, and I was very fortunate that the cruise that I was on there was a guy who was probably 55 who had 4 Final Fours under his belt, and a guy who was 48 who had 3 Final Fours under his belt. And I'm they have the referee U1 and U2. Yeah. They would call me the U99. Right. And I looked like it. I looked brand new.
Right.
I'm sure I felt brand new, and I'm sure I acted brand new. So, as a coach, they're gonna go find the puppy. They're gonna go find the less experienced guy because they want calls like they all do.
Sure.
At that level.
Sure.
So I would they would come by and say, "Coach," they would say, "Mike, we've warned them, so we got your back." And I felt very comfortable. They said, "You just ref the game. We'll take care of the sidelines." Okay. And so that was a lot of that. And then I ended up whacking Billy late in my career and at a Big West. A WAC tournament in Las Vegas. So I ended up getting the last laugh on him. I've had 2 tees. That tee, and I threw out the Cal Poly coach at St. Mary's.
Oh wow!
He wanted to get thrown out though. He wanted to go.
You can tell.
Yeah. Those are my only two college coaching tees. I wasn't a big tee guy. The other story I'll just tell is UNLV is at Wyoming, and it's a regional game, but it's before you could go to the monitor. There wasn't the technology, and there was a transition, and I'm running the trail, and we're going the other way. I got to run like the length of the court, and I take a peek, and a guy is holding his own nose in his hands, God. And there's just blood everywhere. It's a crime scene, and I didn't see it.
Wow.
I didn't see it, and nobody saw it. But out of deductive reasoning, we just said
there was a foul.
That happened, and we knew the guy who was close to him was 6'9" kid, and so. But that was like a 2-day process where you're not sure if you're going to keep your job. they end up suspending him because they got another video view of it. But at the time and right after the game, you got one coach who's mad because this kid's got a broken nose and you didn't call a foul.
Right.
We ejected him. I don't think we called a foul. And the other coach is saying, "Why'd you throw my kid out? You didn't call a foul." So, yeah, those are a couple
Wow.
situations that you just unravel.
That would be a tough one. Did you inspect
the elbow for blood on the elbow?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like CSI crime scene?
Probably what we did. We knew who it was, and and probably shame on us that the physical contact was probably going on. And we probably didn't address it or get on it like we should have.
Yeah. So at the college level, do you find, I asked Daryl this question too, I mean, my frustration as a coach is when you got a crew and somebody's calling it tight on one end and the trail is maybe letting things go, and then you go to the other end of the court, now the trail's under the basket, and so you just have this imbalance.
Yes.
So as a ref, when you see that happening, how do you handle that?
Well, you got to talk about it in your pregame. And hopefully your pre-games are detailed enough with your crew chief who's saying, this is how we're going to call the game. And you can sometimes, at least at the college level, who the coaches are, who the players are.
Yeah.
And because in the Big West and the WAC, their conferences have a big Monday game.
Right.
So if you weren't reffing then, you at least saw them on TV. And there was a fair amount of TV games even in the 90s. And so you have to be familiar, so you were kind of ready for how the game should be called.
Right.
But it's really the responsibility of the crew chief, and if your partner gets a ticky tack one at this end, you may want to find one at the other end. But if he totally kicked it, then you can't make that up. You just got to live with that. Otherwise, And I think the one thing again, kind of being a team, they don't remember who's good on the team or who wasn't. Either the crew was really good or the crew was
the
really
refs sucked or the refs were fine.
Yeah. So
right. Exactly.
Yeah, but I think if you have strong crew chiefs, and I was really, really fortunate to have really senior guys to work with and learned a lot from them.
Awesome. All right, I want to get into coaching. My last question for you, Mike. Most famous coach you ref? Like, did you ever Coach K?
I ref Coach K in my first NCAA game was at Rupp Arena.
Okay.
I had Wolford versus Duke, and you can imagine that was a 1-16 game.
Uh-huh.
And the fun part about that was it was Rupp Arena, because Kentucky was out. Kentucky was in Florida somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was the year after Leitner hit
the
buzzer beater.
Yeah.
So the people that didn't travel with Kentucky just came to that game just to boo Krzyzewski and boo Duke. So there was 25,000 people there.
Oh wow.
And it was they went up 3-0, and then it was like 27-3, and CBS moved off the game and went to another game. So I was probably on the.
I'm sure the officiating was excellent.
Well, I remember when he got the NCAA patch in the mail.
That's pretty cool.
That was a big deal.
It was a huge deal.
Yeah.
And it was like going to, is it coming? Is it not coming? And it was really cool. But yeah, I think we only got to watch it for about 8 minutes because they moved it.
They moved on.
Yeah, you get a FedEx package on Saturday. You don't know if you're coming, and they're only taking 96 guys in the country. So to get that, my last 2 years was
that's really cool.
Thrill.
Ashley, did you ever see your dad officiate in person? Did you ever go to the games and watch
in person? I was such a nerd that I think Santa brought me twice. I think I went down to LA to watch him ref or to watch Uncle Jimmy coach. And then I went to New Mexico State at the pit.
No, New Mexico.
New Mexico at the
Amazing.
pit with Uncle Andy and watched him ref. Now that's an experience because everyone in the arena hates your dad. Versus like, they're coaching, sometimes they're cheering, it's like, I'm 8, 10. I mean, I'm not very old, and like, you're watching your dad just get booed.
They didn't start the ref, you're awesome.
Yeah, no, they did not.
Let's go, refs. Let's go.
They did not. And then his last tournament was the Maui Invitational. And so we all went out for that, for the last hurrah.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, as we said to Daryl, right? I mean, it's the most thankless job. You do an amazing job, and nobody notices you.
Yeah.
Right. That's the way it works. Okay. we're going long, but we got a few minutes left. We got to talk about coaching. You guys are two of the best coaches in the state. So it's interesting. I was at the Dominican women's practice a couple days ago. Tim invited me, and I had a really good time. And it was interesting. They scrimmaged a lot. I mean, he did a few drills at the beginning, and they go right into it. And it's 5-on-5. They're working on certain things, but basically, I'd say 80% of the practice was scrimmaging. And I've heard this from other coaches. How do you guys, Ash, I want to start with you. What's your mix of, in kind of a mid-season practice, let's say, drills versus just playing live scrimmaging? How do you balance that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, and I think my assistant coaches would say, that we don't scrimmage enough. We shoot a lot, like a lot,
yeah,
so that we can knock down shots. I mean, we can draw up whatever we want. If it doesn't go in, or the girls don't feel comfortable coming off a screen a certain way,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. So we definitely do, we drill a good amount, and then I would say probably the last half an hour of each practice is, 20 minutes, half an hour is scout for the other team. So we'll run, play live with putting in their offense or breaking a press or whatever it is.
Right.
That's kind of mid-season. But, I think my assistant coaches would say we don't scrimmage enough.
So how about early in the season? I mean, and mix of defense versus offense. So I get that you guys shoot a lot, and that makes sense because you guys are your teams are really good shooting teams, and that helps. By the way, newsflash, listeners, making shots helps winning basketball games. So defense versus offense early in the season. Do you drill more defense?
We've had such a good core coming back that already has kind of known our defensive philosophy. So early, I tend to get our stuff in, and especially if we're making adjustments from the year before. So it kind of depends, but you've got a list of things that need to at least get in by your first scrimmage. So it might not be good, it might not look good, but at least we have a press break that's in, or something against the zone that's in
sideline out of bounds plays
that they can run. So those first couple of weeks, you're kind of spinning through some things, and obviously talking defensively, because that's extremely important to our program. But our defensive philosophy is pretty well set. So they learn that kind of in the summer. So,
Mike, what's your strategy? How about back to the scrimmage versus drills question?
Well, I think you build out. You start with the drills, and you start out with formations, and you start out, and then you build out to it's like an on-ball pick and roll.
Yeah.
How to defend it, and you can obviously do both, and then you build out to your motion offense with that and how you're going to defend it. I would say the scrimmaging part, it's tricky here at Marin Catholic when our football team is so successful, and we're usually reliant on a player or two, an impactful player or two that we have to wait for. That you end up, it's like almost like a classroom where you're teaching a lesson,
right? And
then a couple new kids get inserted, and then it's a challenge to keep the curriculum going,
right,
and have these kids come in and try to play catch up. And so a lot of times scrimmaging can at least, it gets the football guys up to snuff that they're playing, and they get their wind, and then you just kind of coach them in the technique. So I would say we probably do a little more scrimmaging when we get hold.
Got it.
Hopefully, and we're rooting for our football teams, so hopefully mid-December.
Right.
And I think, hate to use the word load management, but in our little world, when you have so many games and in between games, and if you have some starters playing heavy minutes, the practice in between, you can, kids want to play.
Right.
They obviously they want to play in games, but they just want to play every day.
Yeah.
And so you can get 6 through 13 or whatever it is, and just keep the back end guys on the court the whole time, and they're getting a good run. So
sure.
Part of that is, I know Ashley talked about just being valued. That part is, and and then they got to stay ready. Especially if you're having so many games, and if the back end guys aren't playing,
right,
then they've got to stay ready. So part of the scrimmaging is part of the conditioning. You always want to condition them with a basketball if you can. So I probably lean more towards the scrimmaging part.
Got it. Do you guys have similar kind of styles when you're coaching, you think?
I think so. I mean, I'm fortunate enough that we both have our lifeline and Uncle Jimmy, and I've taken more sets off her than she's taken off of me. That's for sure. I won a couple games with her.
10 years of college coaching experience. She's probably got a good playbook.
Yes, her out of bounds plays.
Ashley, I need you to send me some of those plays.
Happy to.
But I would say, it's.
Do you watch each other's practices?
Yeah, we butt into each other.
Yeah.
We go usually 3 to 4:30. They go 4:30 to 6.
Yeah.
No, she's amazing. I mean, she's there's no mystery. I know you need good players, but there's no mystery of why the Marin Catholic girls program is the way.
So weird. They're just always consistently good. At least
Yeah.
since 2017.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know why.
That's very nice.
Oh, it's very true.
But yeah, no, I think we both have the same general philosophy of, providing a really supportive, fun environment that's also super competitive. And we're going to get after it, and we're passionate about it. You can't do this if you're not passionate about it.
Sure.
You shouldn't be doing it if you're not passionate about it, because your kids aren't getting what they need. So that just general philosophy is that. And then I was coached by him for 5 years growing up, and a little bit in AAU, and that's where you learn all your basics. We're doing shell, drill, drop, rotation in CYO.
Yeah.
So learning all that stuff so early, and then so the basic stuff is the same, and then it's just flared off into what our team needs and what his team needs.
I think we coach it, or my philosophy is I like to coach it the way I'd like to play it, the way the fans would like to see it. And so if you can accomplish all those things, you got a pretty good product.
Absolutely. All right, Ash, favorite drill?
Ooh. We're doing this drill for our ball handling where the defender just fouls them and rides them on the side. Just to keep our line versus press or attacking the paint. And it's been the most productive, where you're oh, we didn't do this drill and we weren't very good. We started doing this drill, and now we're a lot better at this. And the girls kind of have fun with it because they're banging into their teammates. And
Josh,
they got
sweet, I can foul Alyssa.
It's a pad.
We don't do a pad. We just get right up, and then they've got to go right through your hip. We just go sideline to sideline.
It's on the sideline, okay.
But that's one drill that, I don't know if it's my favorite, but the one that I've been oh, it actually has translated into games.
How about your favorite shooting drill?
Favorite shooting drill. We do something called 30 and 3. In college, as a coach, we did 50 and 5. And all 5 spots on 3-point line. Got 5 minutes. And you can't leave your spot till you made 10. So 50, if there's still time on the clock, you go to the top of the key and just keep shooting. We don't have a ton of practice time here, so we do 30 and 3.
Okay.
So 6 makes at each spot. And
how many people at each basket are doing?
We try to just go 3 shooters, 3 or 4 rebounders, because it's a little chaotic because you're trying to get a ton of shots up. But they like it. They have a number that they've gotten, and then we ask it's competitive and it's game-like and conditioning, and so that's, I would say, is my favorite shooting drill.
Awesome. Mike?
We do a 4-on-4 closeout drill where you get 4 spots on the court, and you pass along the sideline, then everybody crosses over to close out, and you swing the ball, and then we implement a ball screen and how we're going to defend it, and then they play live out of it. And sometimes we'll allot, we're going to do this 10 minutes, and all of a sudden it's everybody's just doing it so well, and the kids are having so much fun, and they don't even think they're scrimmaging, they're drilling, but we're not keeping score, but we're just rotating through, but it's a drill that I think everybody expects to do every day. And the coverages, are we going to trap it, are we going to ice it, are we going to hard hedge it, and we just put in different things, but it's you can get a lot done with that, and you can get your 13 or 14 guys moving. And that's the one thing you learned about baseball, or baseball when I was growing up, is everybody stood around while a guy hit and took 2 bunts, and that was it. Now it just drives me crazy when there's so much standing. So I hate idle time. So the 4-on-4 closeout is
That's awesome.
Is really, and Andre Damien, who's been who was with Brett for all those years, and has been so fortunate to have him going into year 2. I've had a great staff all 14 years. The staff's been great, but Andre introduced it this way, and so it's really
that's great.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah, those small-sided games are awesome.
Yeah.
Right, like 3-on-3, 4-on-4 with different constraints. We were talking to Tyler Gaffney about that. It's great. Awesome. All right. Well, I could talk to you guys for a lot longer, but I know Duffy's going to get mad at me. So let me go to crunch time.
Oh, it's my fault.
You're a great foil, and Siri didn't yell at me this time. Okay, crunch time. Quick answers until I ramble on.
How are we doing this? Alternating?
We're going to go Ashley first on this one.
Okay.
They're both going to answer each question.
Okay.
Ashley gets the first draft choice in this one. Ashley, toughest player you've ever played against?
Paris twins at Piedmont.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 of them.
Daughters of Bubba Paris.
Correct.
Famous 49ers.
Yes.
I watched them play. So Courtney
And Ashley.
Yeah. And they went to Oklahoma? Is that right?
Yes.
Did you have to guard them?
I did sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Took a charge, I think.
I did take a charge.
Listeners, there's a height differential.
Yes, by like a foot.
Okay. Mike, toughest player you've ever played against?
Ken Cooney, Novato.
All right. Not Buck Chavez, because you played with Buck Chavez.
With Buck Chavez, yeah.
That's right.
And then playing with Ken Cooney in adult league.
Awesome.
In the summer league.
Okay, Mike, favorite coaches, players to watch, high school, college, pro, whatever. Just who do you like to watch?
What I used to watch when I was reffing was Bob Thomason at UOP.
Yeah.
I liked his way because he never had the best player. So he had the number 1 draft
Old
choice.
Candy.
But even when I was reffing, not knowing that I was ever going to coach high school, I watched what he did with his players, and he was always someone who I was always fascinated with.
Oh.
I would say my dad asked me this same question. Who gets you nervous at the high school level, and the answer is Brett Tamani.
We only had 50 years of coaching experience.
Yeah, but it wasn't only the experience. It was his way. It was his.
Yeah.
He was just. He gave you the impression he was just so sure of himself, and his teams were just so well prepared.
Yeah.
And you just knew you had to have everything done tenfold when you're going up against a Brett Tamani team.
Awesome. Great answer. Okay, Ash, favorite coaches, players to watch, high school, college, pro, whatever.
I would say just like end of game situations in general at whatever level. Whether you just turn it on or it's the end of his game.
Yeah.
And you're talking about why did you do that? How did you do that? What were you thinking? I would have done it this way, or that's what I was thinking. So just that, like the strategy, especially at end of games, which he's really, really good at.
All right, Ash, we're up 3. There's 8 seconds left. They have the ball. Are we fouling or are we letting him shoot the 3?
He would foul. I would probably let him shoot a 3.
Okay.
Depending on the scouting report.
Okay. That's always the tough one.
Yeah. Joey Calcaterra in 2017, we were up at the Jesuit tournament, and we weren't going to foul. And he stuck his head in the huddle. He says, "We're going to foul."
So you're up 3.
We're up 3.
Yep.
And he goes, "We're going to foul." I says, "Well, you're the ones that have to do it. If you're the 5 of you that are on the court, if you guys will buy into it and get a defensive rebound, I'm all in." And it worked well in our favor. But Joey spoke up.
Love it. Okay, Ashley, favorite gym in Marin?
Me and Marin Catholic.
Here we are.
I'm biased.
So Jeff Skaggs told us that it used to be back in the day, the stands were all above.
You see the stairwell, the marbles in the stairwell.
Yeah. Yes, that's fascinating.
We can see the shots going up right now, David. We heard the basket being lowered about 20 minutes ago. That's awesome.
What an authentic touch.
Open gym.
Okay, Ashley says Marin Catholic. Mike?
Got to be Drake.
There you go.
Got to be Drake.
That's the correct
That's the best shooting gym in the
That's
county.
the correct answer.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ashley.
That's okay.
Okay, Mike, dream team. You're heading down to play pickup, Drake Outdoor Courts. The old outdoor courts, not the one now, the ones where the swimming pools is now. Who's with you?
I mean, just total home cooking.
Yes.
And I'm not going to apologize for it.
Great.
Am I on the team?
Of course you are.
Okay.
So you and 4 others.
Oh man, but just royalty. You got to go Eddie Joe.
Yep.
You got to go Walt.
Walt Gillespie.
I'm going Steve Spencer,
Love it.
and I would just put Buck in there.
That's a tough squad. What? So were you playing 2 or 3? What are you playing?
I played mostly that. One reason why I think I was good at Cal Poly is because I was our 4-man at Drake, and I could rebound.
Okay.
So I could play a little bit of 2, a little bit of 3, and a little bit of 1. But I could play the 3-man at Cal Poly. But it was because I was kind of a 4-man at Drake. We had Steve Spencer was our point guard. And he was, so there you go.
And we talked a lot about Spencer's legs with Dave Deneen. We won't talk about his fabulous legs. Okay, Ashley, dream team.
All right, I went with college women's players. I went Sue Bird, Elena Deladon, Tina Charles, and Aaliyah Boston.
That's a tough squad. And you bringing it up.
Yeah, Sue Bird's going to have to play the 2.
Yeah, come on, Sue, move over.
I want her team to play Mike's team.
Who's guarding Buck?
Deladon.
Yeah, that's true. She's pretty good. All right, very important one. Favorite Marin restaurant, Ashley?
Soul food.
Good answer. Tasty.
Il Fornaio.
Ooh, nice. That's the second Larry Mandel restaurant with someone else at Poggio. Okay, favorite coaching saying or aphorism or one-liner or whatever. You got anything?
Show me, don't tell me.
I like that one.
I don't have one as good as that, but I always am yelling connect. Like high fives,
yes.
Or reconnecting, good, bad, and they know what that means. Or if they see me doing this, slapping my hands, they know.
We literally were just talking. Who were we talking about this with, Duff?
Fulton is talking about connecting, get connected.
Yeah, it was a different. Yeah, so Fulton, we start every San Domenico practice with like the oldest school drill in the world, the weave, right?
Yep.
3-player weave, and whenever everybody says the name, say ball, we're communicating, and when we're not, the energy's bad, we're not on, Fulton will yell, get connected. Like that's his thing. So connectivity is so important.
Yeah.
And anecdotally, Ashley, last night you helped our St. Sebastian CYO evaluations, like little 3rd graders.
Yes.
And Tom Poser sent me a text and just said, Ashley Saia was unbelievable. And he said that she had the kids communicating and complimenting each other and giving each other high fives, and the energy in the gym was so positive. And it was really great. It was basically like, going forward, we need to change the way that we do evaluations to do that. Like Ashley Saia has changed our evaluations forever from 90 minutes, so thank you for that. But
it was super fun. So
3rd graders are pretty cute.
Yeah.
Okay, last question, most important question. All the Saias are playing a horse. Who wins?
I think Dad.
Mike's being very quiet.
Yeah.
That's what I'd answer.
It's
He's showing
Grandma
us
Jean.
I'm
Grandma Jean.
going with my mom.
Grandma Jean.
I'm going with
Okay,
my
really?
mom.
She could shoot it?
Absolutely. She would be doing the dishes in the window, and it was more a thing when my friends were there, and they would say, Miss Saia, come out, and she came out, and she had a little corner, about a corner 13-footer. She'd hit it and go back in and go on her merry way.
Mic drop.
Yeah,
That's
awesome.
awesome.
I think I got to go with mom.
Awesome. All right. Well, you guys have been so generous with your time. You're awesome people. You're awesome coaches. Fans, listeners, go out and support Marin Catholic this year. We're very fortunate to have Ashley and Mike Saia in our county and in our league. So thanks, you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you. You guys are so gracious to us and so gracious to the community of Marin and the basketball community of Marin. And I think I just want to say thank you for making the effort and the professionalism and the way you guys go about doing this. This is really exciting, going to re-energize the community. So thank you for all you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Okay.
All right. Well, that was a really fun discussion. I love Mike and Ashley. Awesome people. Duff, what'd you think?
It was great. I did have an impulse to leave the interview when I heard those baskets going down and the balls starting to bounce. I'm like, get me out of here. I want to get some shots up. These guys are inspiring me. But yeah, stuck it out through the interview. It was great. We'll just mention a couple things. There's a lot we could talk about, but I just want to focus on the hold the line drill that Ashley talked about. And I was intrigued, so we followed up, asked her a couple questions about it, and then we actually ran this in practice a couple times this week with our guys. And it's just really, it's simple, but it's great for just teaching, leverage and just getting low. And you can see immediately the kids who have that low leverage strength and those that need to improve on it. So it was helpful in that regard. And then also just exhausting. I mean, we ran it for 5-6 minutes, and these guys were exhausted. So the way we did it was running, both directions on the court. So start right hand and then switch to left hand a couple minutes in, and they're going, holding the line on the sideline until half court, and then defense is, taking a step back, and then now it's 1-on-1, but they have to finish on the right side. No jumpers. They have to try and get into the lane, 2 feet in the lane if they can. So anyway, that was a great drill. Thank you, Ashley, for that. A lot of other great content. We don't have the time to totally rehash it, Dave, but why don't you kind of pick out a couple favorite moments from the interview?
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I both were texting. We both tried her 30-in-3 drill, right? You got to make 33s in 3 minutes. I actually did it with Bob Mitchell and Eric Albin. I barely made it, but that's not easy.
For 3,
from
you did
3.
It? Yeah. Okay.
From 3. You do it from mid-range, that's one thing, but making 33s in 3 minutes, first of all, is very tiring. I'm an old man. I'm sort of in like old man shape. I was exhausted. My arms were exhausted, but that's not easy to do. Yeah, exactly. So that's a great drill. And then, the fact that Ashley said in college they were doing 50 and 5, that's even tougher. You got to make 10 from each spot. So that's a great drill. I loved hearing Mike talk about his tryout at Cal Poly and the way that he made the team and stood out among 36, 38, whatever it was, players. He stepped in and took a charge and got, quote, trucked by the best player. Didn't even care whether it was a charge or a block. He just wanted the coaches to see that he's willing to do what it takes to win, and that was a great anecdote. Very similar, as we talked about, to the Tom Poser be the kid that dives on the floor, right?
Right.
That was awesome. And then finally, just again, could talk for an hour about observations on this discussion, but I really loved hearing Ashley talk about how she dealt with her injuries, 4 ACLs over her career, just really bad luck, but such a positive person. And it was really cool to hear her talk about in college how the coaches kept her included, her teammates kept her in the mix, and that really kind of started her coaching career, right? So as a college player, she's in on the coaching meetings, learning, making the most of this terrible development with a torn ACL, and that's led to her being a great coach. So I just thought that was really cool and beautiful perspective.
It seems to be a recurring theme, Dave, that injuries to basketball players at some point, high school or college is kind of what gives them a chance to sit on the sideline, observe, and start to think like a coach. And we just had an interview with Rick Winter this week, and he pretty much said it was an injury he had that kind of turned him into a coach. So I'm sure that it's a theme that will pop up again and again as we have more interviews with coaches.
Yeah, one more kind of public service announcement to the kids, the players out there. Even if you're not injured, when you're on the side watching a drill or a scrimmage and you're not in the mix, pay attention, listen, watch your teammates. When you're on the bench of a game, be engaged, watch the game. When there's a huddle, even if you don't get any playing time in that game, be in the huddle, listen, learn. Coaches notice that stuff, and it makes you a better player. So, I was never a good player, but one thing that I did do was I paid attention every minute of practice. I was in on every huddle in games, even when I was a sophomore not getting any playing time, and it made me a better player. So I thought that was just a great message from Ashley.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes a coach will say to the huddle, "What are you seeing? What are you seeing out there?" And even if the coach disagrees with you, if you're seeing something, you should speak up. Because the coaches can't be paying attention to every little detail out there. Players often see susceptibilities that a coach might miss. So
absolutely,
See a coach on the floor.
Well, can't thank Mike and Ashley enough for their time. That was an awesome discussion. So thanks, guys, and support MC this year. Duff, we have a player control segment. You know what, Duff? I don't have much today because I'm perfect. So why don't you go?
Player control segment. Yes, I've got two, Dave. First is we have heard from some listeners. Yes, we are working on the show notes. We would love to have an unpaid intern to help us with the show notes. Especially for these long interviews. Totally agree. They would be very nice to have. So moving forward, at some point, we will have the show notes. We'll put them, in the notes of the podcast on Spotify, Apple, etc. And we'll also put them on the website. So player control on me for not getting that sorted out before we started this. But a promise that at some point we'll have that functionality. That's one. Number two, and I would say this really is not my fault because PJ Tucker, I did not realize that he was part of trade discussions to go to the Clippers. And if I had, I would realize that he would be trying to boost his trade value by making one or two shots. So therefore, he did score 3 points, I think, in game 2 of the season, shot the ball maybe 3 times, and he will not be breaking that record of I would not be setting the record of being the only player to start all 82 games and score 0 points. But maybe next year for the Clippers, if he sticks around, I don't know that he's in the starting lineup, but maybe if he squeezes in at age 47 or whatever he is, maybe he can do it next year.
Very disappointing, Duff. I have one comment on the show notes. I want to shout out our friend Dan Dibs, who's a radio personality, a radio superstar. He's had a long career, but he is a Drake grad. His brother, Doug Dibley, by the way, fantastic player on the 82 state championship team, has not gotten any airtime.
He's up on the wall. He's up on the wall. Just looking at his name yesterday. Yeah.
Absolutely. Doug's a great player, but Dan is the one who shot me a note and said, hey, it would be great if you guys could have some show notes and point to different minutes so I know where to fast forward to so he doesn't have to listen to you and me banter and can get to the good stuff.
This is 1 hour, 52 minutes approximately right now, Dave.
Exactly. So I'll let Dibley know that at hour 152 he gets mentioned. The other thing on the controversy of Brass Monkey versus It Takes Two, I need to resolve this. As we surmised, we were both right. So Kearns, Mark Anderson, Santa Fe High did come out and did their layups to Brass Monkey, but that was in the 86-87 time frame. And then It Takes Two, which I heard, was from 88 to 90. So we're both right. All is right.
You're maybe more right than they are, though. I think if we were to sort of grade rightness, you got them by a nudge.
That's how I feel, but I'm unbiased, obviously. All right, this has been a great one, Duff. Episode 7 in the books. Thank you so much for listening. Please give us comments. Go to our Instagram. Shoot us emails. We respond to them. We see them. We really appreciate all the love and support from our fans and listeners, and excited for episode 8.
Yeah, and we're dropping 2 this week. We're putting 2 in the bucket this week, Dave. So we got Daryl Rory, got his episode coming out later this week. So stay tuned. We're going to be ramping up our releases for the next couple weeks as we have some great interviews that are ready to go.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.
Thanks to our sponsors. Goodbye.
This guy walks into a little saloon and sits down. He draws the eyes of all the locals of this small town. He looks damn normal to me. Bandana on his head, Birks on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey dude, you too must be from Marin."